Question we have today is, do we still live in a free country? And over the next hour or so, we hope to maybe shed some light on that question. Coming to you from the Illegal Shift Studio, it's another episode of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. I don't feel a lot of joy in my heart today, Jason Kiefer. I mean, we have... Before I get into Trump, can I just say something?
Let's do it. Say it.
I am really starting to enjoy. Let me just go ahead and do this.
Yeah, you need to start there.
All right, let me do that. Did I say it's a One More and I'm Out of Here podcast?
You just did.
Did I say that? All right.
You just did.
But I am really starting to enjoy watching women's golf. And I have for the last couple of years now, but even more, the Women's U.S. Open is taking place right now. There was a golfer that, I guess on one of her tee shots, actually hit a bird.
She pulled a Randy Johnson.
You remember the Randy Johnson video?
She pulled a Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I have seen that story, I don't know, pop up a half a dozen times so far, but I haven't seen the video. There's got to be video of it. I have not seen that video.
I'm sure it's out there. Somebody's got it.
And then there's another female golfer. Her name is Charlie Hull. She's from England, and she's playing in the PGA Championship. And so she's out there signing autographs while she's sucking down a heater.
I saw that.
I don't know, honestly, I don't know how good of a golfer she is. I am not advocating for cigarette smoking, but if you want to smoke a cigarette, by all means, please do. But she's out there, and the video of it is right here, and she's got that smoke dangling out of her mouth, and she's puffing away, and she's signing autographs.
The only thing you needed behind her was a fucking double wide of her just walking right down.
Yeah.
Like a Pall Mall hanging right out of her face.
I mean, you be you. You know,
I love it.
The kind of the John Daly effect written all over it.
I did see that.
So the women playing the U.S. Open this weekend, and then Nelly Korda took a 10 on a par 3. Did you see that?
I did not see that part.
You and I could have done that.
Yeah.
She hit a couple 3 balls into the water. There's a creek surrounding this green, and the ball rolled back a couple times. And
well,
took a 10 on a
guess
par
what?
3.
I guess you'll learn your lesson.
That's golf, man. That's golf.
A 10 on a par 3 is not golf.
Well, it happens. What do you go? Oh, there you go. There's a nice picture of Charlie Hall.
I'm shitty at golf, but I don't think I've ever taken a 10 on a par 3.
I should have sent you this picture. We should have put that picture of Charlie Hall right there.
Guess what? You didn't.
I don't know, man. That's not looking bad at all. So congratulations to all the women playing golf. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we get into the meat of the program today.
Well, we've got a guest with us.
Speaking of meat.
Yeah, speaking of dead meat. Speaking of dead meat.
Red meat. Red meat for all the meat eating women out there.
We're gonna bring him in for all of your viewing and listening enjoyment. Oh, there he is.
Oh man,
Mr. Andrew Pappas, or as he named himself, Big Johnny Slade.
Big Johnny Slade. I wonder if anyone gets that reference. You remember? Hey, tell me the movie that comes from. Tell me the movie. Come on, Dan. You're the Big Johnny Slade.
What movie was that? Big Johnny Slade?
Fried movie. Kentucky Fried movie.
I've never seen it.
Oh, God, a cult classic.
See, if you hang out with me long enough, you'll find out there's a whole lot of those movies that the sort of movies that everybody has seen that I have not seen.
Well, I figured at your age you've seen that movie, and it's not like one. It's just a bunch of little skits. It is truly a cult classic. The only reason I said you probably see it, you're a little older than both of Jason and I probably put together. So I figured you might. Wow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our friend Andrew Pappas, who is right now, as you can tell, beelining to Mar-a-Lago to sleep in Trump's bed since he's in New York. Just to make sure that the homestead's taken care of.
Just because of Trump's economy, I'm taking up gig as an Uber driver, and I'm heading to the airport. So you can look me up. Give me a 4-star rating.
Well, don't earn more than $600, or you'll have the IRS sniffing around, and
I don't think I have something the IRS can sniff.
So we have as Rob said in the past, we have the One More and I'm Out of Here News Network. So we've got our boots on the ground, Andrew Pappas.
Yeah, Cub Reporter. Hey, Cub Reporter coming to you live from Loop 275. The traffic, should I do the fake helicopter noise and just hit my chest? The traffic looks pretty good out here. It's flowing pretty smoothly here.
You got construction over there by Mineola Pike, I think, so that you might run into that a little bit.
I'm not by Mineola Pike yet, so well, there's always construction over there, but hopefully I'll dodge it. But, Dan, I share, first of all, I'd like to tell Mr. Carroll I'm a little bit sleepy this morning because I had a hard time going to sleep after he snuffed me back to the 11:30 spot.
Now let's set the record straight here. The instructions were to do what? To pick up the phone and call us. Yes,
I did not. Well, I did not read that portion of it.
Of course,
there's really not a lot I can do about that.
Well, I was sitting there and I was like, it's 11 o'clock, it's 11:05, it's 11:10. I'm like, really, I don't know what to do. And so I texted him and like, dude, did you grits me? And he's like, you're supposed to call me. And I'm like, God, that's really not the way it's supposed to work. I'm pretty sure you guys call me, but it worked out okay. And I got my bumper music, so I was kind of happy about that.
Yeah, and you went back and read the text message, and you found out what you were wrong, and I was right.
What do you want? An apology? Wrong. Get in line. Here's the deal. Get in line. Okay, it's not coming.
RONG.
Are you going to continue to fucking argue with him? You realize that this is microphone, so you have to let somebody speak and let somebody else speak.
I know.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
God,
Go ahead.
You guys argue like you're fucking married.
What do you want for dinner?
You'll figure that out when you get to the airport, motherfucker.
No, don't tell people where I'm going. Somebody might try to off me on my way. God, that's a secret.
I already said you're going to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, that's right. But I said I was driving.
So let's get your take on the dropping news yesterday. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Well, you know what? When it dropped, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I've gone, and I think I speak for everybody because I pretty much consider myself John Q. Public. But I will tell you, I mean, I don't know that anger ever came into it. I was really kind of, I'm dismayed. I'm not depressed. I'm actually quite saddened. And, I mean, as I told Dan last night, look, man, yesterday, I hope everybody frickin' takes mental note, takes a little mental picture, or just says to themselves, Dear Diary, today I was at blah, 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 blah. Just make a note of where you were yesterday. Because I can tell you, I remember being a little kid sitting about 2 feet from the television when Richard Nixon, because I was this was before remote control, Jason. So the child was the remote control for the family. And they're like, change the channel. And they throw something at you, and you'd have to flick the switch on the TV to change the channel. So I was sitting close to the TV when Richard Nixon boarded the helicopter and left the White House. I remember that day, okay? Yesterday, I believe, was that same kind of day. And I'll say it because although some on the left, and it's just the hardcore leftists that were celebrating yesterday and just crowing and happy and everything else, I did see a few pretty rational Democrats have come out and even contributed a sizable amount of money to Donald Trump's campaign and realize how fundamentally effed up that was yesterday. Okay. Yes. So I'm actually very sad. I'm not mad. Dogs get mad. I'm not mad, but I do pose an interesting question to you both. For those people that celebrate yesterday and think that was a good event, okay, and don't understand the fundamental, complete destruction of our legal system and weaponization of our legal system against a sitting or running political candidate for office of the President of the United States, that this was done purely, there's no doubt this was done for purely political means. How do we move forward in union with these people in a country? I'm not advocating any type of disillusion or violence or anything like that. I'm just asking a fundamental. We have my point here is, I believe we have a fundamental, just basic misunderstanding or disagreement on what type of country and what type of legal system we should have in this country. And a small percentage, I don't know, you can put a number on it. What would you say, 30%? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure, but let's say 35, 40% of the public thinks that's okay. And that's a good thing. And that really causes me grave concern, because that's not what the United States is. That's what, banana republics are. And I don't know how we get past it. I really don't.
Well, the funny thing with the way that the whole trial went, with what nobody was clear on what he was being charged with, it kept changing, right? And then when the judge gives the jury instructions, I've never heard of a trial to where you don't have to be unanimous, and you can you
see my cup.
Oh, I do. Nice.
Yeah, you like it, don't you?
No, throw it out the window. It's terrible. But never have I seen a trial that goes the way that one did, the way the judge is giving. I mean, there's so many things that I believe will be, pulled on appeal and changed. But all it is getting a label. It's getting a label that, oh my God, we convicted Donald Trump. And to me,
you heard
personally, I think it helped him. It did nothing but help him.
Financially, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But you heard Alvin Bragg came out and said, oh, it's an indelible mark on the president. And even if it's appealed, my biggest thing was, and Dan, you touched on this earlier. Did you see the El Duce, the president, freaking, he made a statement today, and I don't know that I don't remember what it's about, because I really don't understand him. He mumbles. And then I believe he soiled himself and was shuffling off stage, and they asked him a question as he was going to go change his Depends. And they said, about Trump statement that he was a political prisoner, and this was all, done at the behest of Joe Biden. And he turned and he gave this grin like, I am the creepiest freak on the planet. Did you see that today, or did you not see it yet?
No, I was, I did my radio show, and then I had to go do a little work with our buddy Randy Corbett, and we were doing some installs over at UC. So I missed that, but I was reading the text of what this occupant of the White House had to say today. And for this guy to give a lecture on the justice system when he is weaponizing multiple agencies and multiple apparatus of the federal government against everyday American citizens, it's disgusting. It's disgraceful, and it's really going to be a shameful chapter of American history when it's all said and done. That this guy is such a numbnut that he can sit there. Here's what he said today: the American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. Really? That really? Was reaffirmed by a political dog and pony show trial against the guy you're running against for president. You can't face him on an even playing field, on the field of honor, and do politics in the way it should be done. You've got to weaponize the FBI. You've got to weaponize local courts. You've got to weaponize the Department of Justice. And for anyone to sit there and think that Joe Biden, look, you don't take the number three guy at the Department of Justice does not resign from that job and go to work for the district attorney in Manhattan, okay, because he's interested in justice. That doesn't happen. And if it does, maybe I'm mistaken. And our buddy that we tried to get on the show today, but we settled for Andrew Pappas, Zeke Arkin. He tweeted this out after Joe Biden spoke today. Here's what and Andrew, I think you'll agree with this. Zeke Arkin put this out on his X, and he wrote this. He He writes, if no one was above the law, people would be getting jailed for destroying a private server with government classified information on it. If no one was above the law, people would be getting jailed for illegal drone strikes. If no one was above the law, people would be impeached for admitting in a crowded room they threatened a foreign nation's president in order to get his son on an advisory board. If no one was above the law, people would get investigated for insider trading in Congress. If no one was above the law, actual crimes would be getting jail time and not having their crimes bumped down to misdemeanors. Either we apply the same level of justice to everyone or no one at all. And that's the quote from our buddy Zeke Arkham, who wrote that in response to what Joe Biden had to say earlier today.
Very well said. I mean, very well said. He left out, he did leave out a couple of things. He left out, the gun charge violation. I guess that's one you talked about getting turned down to a misdemeanor, but that was actually a felony against Hunter Biden. Look, it's just, it's sad. And where do we, more importantly, it happened by the Democrats brought this, the Democrats caused this. And, what is what's the recourse? I'll tell you what the recourse is. The recourse is, I'm glad you asked. The recourse is to redouble your efforts and make sure that Donald Trump wins, and not only wins resoundingly so that there can be no doubt. But, after, let's just assume for a minute, let's just go into the time machine and go forward. Donald Trump wins the election, okay? How many people in this country, all you are going to hear for 4 years is felon president, convicted felon, blah, 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 illegitimate president, blah, blah. So, what does that do for our country? How does that make our country stronger? It doesn't. So because of the Democrats' complete and utter bloodlust for power, they're willing to destroy the very country they want to rule over. I've got a big problem with that. I really do. And let's bring it down. Let's break it down to the local level. In Ohio, yesterday, the legislature changed the time frame so that the Democrats, through their own incompetence, this wasn't caused by Ohio. Ohio had to change its own timetable because the Democrats apparently are too goddamn stupid to read and understand what the dates are in each state for being on the ballot. Okay?
It was a law that they passed in Ohio. The Democrats are the ones who passed it, signed into law by a Democrat governor at the time.
But they were too stupid to realize that. So then the story became Ohio. I love how the story was twisted. Ohio's keeping Joe Biden off the ballot, blah, 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 blah. No. So what did the Republicans do? Okay. Now, obviously, I've had differences with Mike DeWine. He brought him back. The legislature, he brought it back for a special session, said pass this. There was some good things added to it, meaning that foreign money couldn't be used for issue-oriented campaigns, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the exact verbiage, but something along that line. And I was like, okay, so we got something at least for our deal. And now Joe Biden will be on the ballot because the logic and what was said by a lot of Republican leaders, including our very own Alex Shiotafilu, a great party chairman. Yeah, that's my little kiss up right there. But he's a good dude. He's doing a good job. But hey, listen, it has its perks. But I'm going to tell you, the deal is that we wanted to have a fight, mano a mano, a fair fight in Ohio. So we were the bigger people. We set party partisanship aside, and they put Joe Biden on the ballot. What now did, and in return, not necessarily just for that, it's not a quid pro quo on the political system with Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats win, I've said this for eons, to their Democrat, to your new Democrat, and maybe not the old one, because I consider Dusty Rhodes a friend of mine, and he's an old school Democrat. But here's the deal. The ends always justify the means. So to a Democrat, hey, whatever I have to do to win, I'll do. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean? So this conviction of Donald Trump is much in that same vein. So, I'm just sad. I mean, I'm really more sad. I don't know where we go from here. You know, the goal obviously for me is to make sure Donald Trump is elected. I think it's the goal for you and a lot of other of our listening audience. But after that, you know, after all that, and we have to come together as a union. How does this country come together again in union when now it's going to be, you know, felon Trump? I mean, can you imagine the pictures? I mean, I don't know where we go from here. I just don't. And do you want, and I'll ask this, do the Democrats want, if and when Donald Trump gets elected, and then there's any charges brought against Joe Biden? Hold on a second. I'm picking up my ride. Talk amongst yourselves. I mean, hold on 1 second.
Well, there's a point that I made on the show last night, and I made it again on my my show this morning when I was filling in for Scott Sloan on 700 WW, is that you know, Andrew, you're out driving around right now, and you know what you're not seeing today? You're not seeing pictures of city skylines with smoke rising in the distance.
No,
you're not seeing a video from in front of car parts stores or fast food restaurants where the windows are broken out and there's fire billowing through the roof. You're not seeing pictures of department stores with people throwing rocks, looting stores, and all the rest of it. You're not seeing cops being attacked. You're not seeing cars overturned. You're not seeing highways blocked with people outraged about what happened to Donald Trump. No, what you're seeing is the proper response. There's outrage. There's anger. People are venting through social media. I had a lot of calls on the radio show today. They're venting that way. We are venting through our podcast right now, and we're doing it in the proper way. No one is calling for violence. Right. No one's, you know, if this was Barack Obama, who was found guilty by a jury for whatever charge in, let's say, an all-white district in the middle of Mississippi somewhere, what do you think the press would be doing then? And you had a judge that gave donations to Trump, and you had a judge that made donations to the Republican Party, and you had a judge that maybe had a daughter that worked to further conservative causes and made millions of dollars while doing it, by the way. How do you think the press would be acting towards that? You know, the media, ABC, NBC, and CBS spent over 600 minutes covering this story over the last several weeks. Only 3 times did they barely mention even that the prosecutor was a Democrat. They did not mention at all that this judge had donated to the Biden campaign, had donated to causes that were orchestrating ways to stop President Trump. So even though there are people out there who may know about this trial, there are still millions and millions and millions of Americans who think that because of the media coverage they watched, that this trial was straight up, it was above board, and everything was done the way it was supposed to be done. And when you have the president of the United States come out and pretend as if this is this was all done in the service of justice and done in the American way, it is a complete fraud. It is a complete and total fraud, and they know it. And they make a mockery when they do this, Andrew, of our justice system. They make a mockery of our electoral system, and they make a mockery out of everything that is considered fair play and doing things the right way, and everything that is supposed to that America is supposed to stand for.
Well, and to your point with making the mockery, so we had a conversation. I was at the firehouse yesterday when the news broke. Joe shot me a text, and then, you know, I immediately turned on the TV. We were, you know, busy doing, you know, shit around the firehouse, but we have a TV in the bay. I turned on, I said, holy shit. All counts. Okay. All right. I expected it. I wasn't shocked by it, but the mockery of the judicial system, like we said earlier, in the way that they changed the way that instructions are being given versus any other trial. But I literally sat there, and I'm a Trump supporter. I mean, it's obviously, I mean, that's obvious if you listen to the podcast. But if this was Joe Biden, it flip-flop, I would still be saying this is bullshit because it's not the way the judicial system has been weaponized via politics. I would feel the same way if it was Joe Biden sitting in that seat. It's fucked up. It's wrong.
No question.
It shouldn't fucking happen that way. The judicial system should be, I mean, whether it's a domestic violence case or this, I mean, big white collar crimes. Let's be real. These are white collar crimes, victimless crimes. They want to say that it was campaign tampering and all that bullshit. I'm not buying it at all whatsoever.
Well, you're not even addressing. Yes, everything you've said is correct, but
I can only get so many words in between you and fucking Dan, so I have to fucking grab when I can.
Well, at least we can say judicial without stuttering a couple times. But listen, here.
So some words just don't roll off the tongue.
You have to cough up a hairball off that fucking sweater that you wear. So go ahead, keep going.
Hey, it's mohair. It's really comfortable. Listen, here's the deal. You're not mentioning the fact that the judge wouldn't allow expert testimony by the defense witnesses, one of whom was the former chairman of the Federal Election Commission that was going to testify there was no crime committed. You're not even mentioning that the statute of limitations had run out, but the way they were trying to get around it was saying that there was a violation, and the cover-up of the violation was a federal crime because it dealt with federal or a state crime because it dealt with federal election laws, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the twisting and turning that they did to just get this charge even made was not only suspicious, it stinks.
Well, it confused the American public and it confused the fucking jurors.
Well, but it was meant to. And it was this is all by design. And as I've said, look, this is for power's sake. And be damned the country, we're in power. Well, look, that's great, but when you're not in power and it's done to you, what will you be saying then? I mean, that's where the rubber's going to meet the road. And also,
that goes to our guy Cincy 513.
All the people that are celebrating this today, I mean, and Trump wins the election. And then they're going to be like, well, he's illegitimate. I mean, how do we, more fundamentally is how do we coexist as a union? Because that's what we are. We're a union of people in the United States. We form a more perfect union. Where is our union? I remember I go back to Joe Biden's inaugural address, how he's going to unite the country, blah, 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 blah. I mean, come on, man. This country's, the thing that I find most concerning as well is, I don't remember a time this country's been more divided. Do you?
It's the most divided it's ever fucking been.
I mean, it wasn't this divided under Obama when you had a racial component to the equation that doesn't exist now, but it's really divided now. People are trying to see where the independents are falling on this. Well, I mean, time will tell. We have 4 months or so. I think the next big hurdle becomes, as Dan was discussing yesterday, is the sentencing date, which is, I believe, 4 days before the convention. I think it's 4 days before the convention.
Yeah, 4 days.
So what if it's put under? Okay, so yeah, really. Hey, let's pick this date. So let's just say, for example, that Donald Trump. Okay, so where are we at now? So he's sentenced next. I mean, it'll be appealed, but that takes some time, and then it's a state court, so it's not like it's going straight to the Supreme Court. That's not going to happen. So then you say, okay, Donald Trump is sentenced. Sentencing guidelines. What's he going to get? Probation? Is he get? I mean, judging from why would you think anything other than jail, given the trial that you've just seen, conducted by everything you mentioned, partisanship, shenanigans, improprieties. And so, let's just say they put him under house arrests. So Donald Trump, for the last 4 months of his campaign, until this is decided, is going to have to sit in Florida without being able to go campaign. I mean, you want to talk about unabashed, election interference. You're looking at it right here. And like I said, so after the election, one side or the other is going to just go ballistic. And Dan, you raised a great point. There's no windows boarded up today. I don't see any violence. There's no smoke on the horizon. I will tell you, I've heard through my deep police sources that apparently there's a group that's going to have a march in downtown Cincinnati today that is going to, the description is the lock him up. Now, I was at the Trump rallies when they were like lock her up in regards to Miss Clinton, but no charges were brought against Miss Clinton. Miss Clinton was never in fear of being put in jail. Nothing was ever done about that. That was just simply, for all intents and purposes, that was campaign banter that the crowd got behind. And it was kind of funny, to be honest with you. But I don't think anybody in the was the Justice Department brought to bear against Hillary Clinton under Donald Trump? And that answer is quite simply no. So there's no comparison between these people saying, "Well, you chanted." No question. These people chanting now, "Lock him up," and they're marching in this. They're going to have a march in downtown Cincinnati on Sunday. That's what I hear. And
if it's if it's a peaceful if it's a peaceful demonstration, then they're totally within their rights to go out there and march and demonstrate and do whatever they want and chant whatever they want. But when I read this about what Joe Biden, here's what Joe Biden said today. He said, "It's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict." Well, this shows to me that this guy has a fundamental misunderstanding of the First Amendment. We are allowed to question the results of elections. We are allowed to question the results of a trial. Did anyone maybe have a difference of opinion when O.J. Simpson was acquitted? So this notion that it's reckless and dangerous. The president of the United States shouldn't have an opinion on this one way or the other. The federal government should not have an opinion on this one way or the other. It's the justice system. It's none of their damn business. But yet somehow,
but it was orchestrated and directed.
Yes, it was.
Again, it was orchestrated and directed by Joe Biden and his administration,
I think the fact that he's reacting the way he is reacting brings that issue to the front and makes it apparent that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it does. So look, I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are. So what do we do moving forward? I think that overnight, the Trump campaign raised $38 billion. You have an update on that number?
34.8. Yeah. Trump said 39 million today when he was doing his statement from the Trump Tower. But the number I saw was 34.8 million.
In 6 hours. 6 hours, mind you. And the site dropped twice.
Yeah. So, I mean, that I think that what you're going to find, even though people are looking at the beloved or the all-important independents in the middle to see where they're going to break on this issue, whether it's going to affect them, I think what you're seeing is that, you're going to see regular Americans that, from what I've seen, and this is just, I'm nobody for sure, but what you see is people that weren't political before are certainly going to be political now, and people that maybe weren't going to vote before, and people that might have even going to be supporting, say, well, I don't like Donald Trump, so I'm going to vote for Biden. I've seen many reports of people saying, I can't support this. This is wrong. And, we're not talking about Rhodes scholars here or people with PhDs or even maybe college degrees. We're talking about regular folks that go out every day for a living, and they can see through this stuff, and they are going to sit there and they're going to vote not only with their wallets, because, given this economy, any amount of money that you give to a presidential campaign, those are very precious dollars, because let's face it, we all have a lot less dollars to spend on, our groceries and our fuel and everything else. So we're getting by with less. And then to take time out of your day, open up your wallet, get online and make a donation to Donald Trump for president. That's something. And I think that's going to continue. You did mention, and we did mention the fact the next big shoe to drop is sentencing date and what happens then. I've heard a lot of speculation. Some people think that Joe Biden's going to, let him be sentenced and then maybe pardon him to try to win some sort of, I don't know, some sort of goodwill with the public. But, this is a state charge. I don't think the president can pardon you from a state charge. I don't think he can do that. So there's a lot of things going on, and
I've got two things to the. I was at the grocery store last night, getting stuff for dinner at the firehouse, and there was there, and she, hey, how are you? Good to see you. We're always nice to people and talking to them in the grocery store. Everything you guys do and protecting us, blah blah blah. So we're having those pleasantries, and then she's like, "Yeah, former Air Force." And then all of a sudden, first thing she goes, "What about that verdict? And look at these prices." And I just started laughing. I was like, in uniform, I'm not gonna go into a big political tirade, but she looked at me. She goes, I was pro Biden. Guess who I'm voting for in November? And just walked away. Just gave a little wink and walked off. And it was just so funny because somebody and that leads into this video. And if you want to stay on, cool. I'm going to play this video real quick.
I'll stay on. I got time.
It works perfect into what you were saying now.
I think it's a little ridiculous that in a city where you won't lock up a common criminal, you're going to put a guy who's running for president through all this all this crap where, months before he's running for president, it just so happened to occur to you that maybe he committed some crimes. I didn't vote for him the past 2 elections, I'll be honest. And when I say I'm a supporter, I'm somebody who doesn't support every single thing he says or even does. But at this point, they got me to a place where I will pull the lever for this guy because, what they're doing to him is disgusting. And I think the person we have in office right now is incompetent.
They've taken it too far to where they've awakened independent minds like yourself.
Sure. I think this backfire on them completely because, I think they're kind of crapping their pants a little bit because this has made him more appealing to someone like me, and even people who I talk to on a daily basis who may not even like him as a person, but the idea of him being perhaps thrown in jail would be crazy. Like, what kind of country is this?
Take over.
I mean, how perfect is that? And you have somebody that didn't vote for him either time, but seeing this fucking bullshit and this hypocrisy go on, guess what? All it did was fucking help him.
I can't look. This is what the chance that they took. And let's be fair. Look at it from Biden's perspective. Okay, let's step back. Biden knows he's behind in the polls. He knows that he's lost support from the African American community because of the economics of the country. They're not stupid. They have internal polls that are probably way more accurate than the polls we probably see in the public. Okay, so this is their home run. This is their do or die. It's fourth and a country mile from the 5-yard line, and they're behind by 4. This is what they have to do. They're swinging for the fences, and this was it. Everyone always talks about an October surprise. I think that because of where the polling was, because of how unpopular he is, and to be fair, because of where the economy is at now and is not going to improve significantly, will probably get worse. I saw that the interest rates on mortgages are starting to tick up again, which is going to have a real impact on the housing market. They had to do something now, and this was it. And appeals, I don't know if the appeal will be heard, done, fast-tracked. I have no idea the state law in New York. Will it be done before the election? Who knows? We'll see. But that's why this was done. And I think what your video shows, what your encounter in these supermarket shows, is that this is not people will tolerate so much, but we don't want to live in a banana republic, and we don't want that kind of country, and this is not what we elected. And to be fair, this isn't what he ran on. So I think you're going to see a boomerang effect. It's going to backfire on him, and they're going to send Joe Biden packing. Now, I'll say this as a Republican, as a firm Trump supporter, as an alternate delegate to the convention in July, I will tell you this. I don't want to see the Republicans come in power and return the favor. I do not want to see that. I don't want to have, maybe I'm a little wiser in my older age. I mean, I doubt it, but maybe. I don't want to see this country turn into that whoever is in power will then persecute the party of the other power. I'd like this to be just a dark chapter, and we'll close the book, hopefully, and move on here in 6 months or so.
Yeah, figure it out and fix it.
God, that was really wise. Dan, you got to throw me a bone here. That was pretty deep.
No, that was pretty good.
Oh, was that my cue to remove you when you
just
started patting yourself on the back?
Just to piggyback on the video that we saw there. That is why another point that I was trying to make last night, and my opinion is that the polls that have been done up to this point in time have shown Biden losing support from African Americans, from minorities in general. The Hispanic support that Trump has really gone up, I think, double-digit points since 2020. Trump is losing support with young people. So those polls and
no, Biden is losing support with young people.
Yeah, well, yeah, Joe Biden is losing a lot of support. But I think the polls that come out now post-decision are really going to be the polls that matter. I think a lot of those polls have now been rendered meaningless, and the polls that come out over the next 10 days, 2 to 3 weeks, are really going to be the polls where this decision has really set in. It's like I've heard so many people discuss their feelings about this today, and it's almost like, when you have a loved one who is close to the end, and that time is coming, and you feel as though you prepare yourself for that time when that loved one eventually passes away. But when they do, there's a feeling that if you really care about that person, that hits you, that is probably indescribable, that is probably something that you didn't expect, or you deal with that in a way that you weren't expecting. And I really think that what we saw here with Trump the other day, and I'm not saying it's similar to losing a loved one, but I'm saying that the way that played out is similar, because I think we were all expecting and dealing with the likelihood that Trump was going to be found guilty. But then once it happened, once that actually took place, because, we touched on this last night, Andrew, that I talked to a lot of people who were holding out hope. There was one or maybe two jurors who would have the wherewithal to stand up against the tidal wave of a legal mumbo jumbo that was washed over them to steer them to this conviction. And I was hoping against hope that might happen, and they might come back with a hung jury or an acquittal, but obviously that's not what happened. So I think this probably hit home a lot harder and in a way that was unexpected, and a lot of people we're dealing with that with again through venting through social media and the expression of a lot of anger at the system that we have in place right now.
That was pretty well said. You actually. Yes, it's not like losing. You didn't mean it's like losing a loved one by any stretch, but you prepare for a decision. You prepare for something, like you said, just like you said. And I think you said it very well, and I agree with it, because it's not really real until it happens, right? It's like, you're like, everyone was discussing, oh, he's going to be found guilty. There's a kangaroo. I mean, how many times you see kangaroo court, blah, 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 blah. And I agree, but then when it happened, you're like, holy cow, I can't really, the processing of that becomes more difficult. And I weep for our country, and I really do. I weep for our country, because this is not the America that I get up every day and, do what I do, which is pretty much nothing these days. But
takes a big man to admit that.
Hey, man. But I mean, here's the deal. This is not the country that I do as much as I do politically. This is not the country that I want to have the next generation raised in, that this is the America that we now find ourselves in. And I would like to think there's still, you did say the polls that come out now are the ones that matter. I would say this. I think the first poll you saw yesterday was the poll of Trump's campaign site crashing twice, because average Americans that did not look, they didn't donate before yesterday. Okay. They saw what happened yesterday and they said, this is horse shit. I'm not putting up with this. I know what's happened. Joe Biden, I got to tell you, what a fundamentally void of any morals. I mean, I'm not going to get into his showering techniques with his daughter, but I mean, just a devoid, which is wrong on so many levels. I'm not going to mention, hold on, I'm on a roll here. Sorry. I'm not going to mention his.
Fuck me up there. Sorry.
I'm not going to mention his disgusting habits of sniffing women's hair and children. And I'm not going to even mention the fact that it's well known in Secret Service that they don't put female agents on his residence because the guy likes to swim naked in front of female Secret Service agents.
Well, he likes to see that dong being seen. He wants to see somebody seeing that dong.
Dude, first of all, I mean, thank God I'm not driving anymore. I am stopped. And I don't have to. You just put a visual in my head. I don't even know if I can finish my statement.
Come on, you can't. You can't speculate on the executive wiener. You can't tell us what.
No, I mean, look.
It's like the movie Porky's. I recognize that. I recognize that penis anywhere.
I did see that movie.
See now, wait a second. Does anyone even remember that movie? I mean, does anyone remember Porky's? I tell you, a lot of your audience probably doesn't. But look. Here we are, and I don't want to live in that kind of America. And for Joe Biden to come out and make any statement whatsoever, I mean, his son should be probably being prosecuted for any number of charges. I mean, we found cocaine in the White House, for Christ's sake, I think twice now. Okay. Oh, we don't know where the cocaine came from. Really? I mean, really? We don't know where the cocaine
building
came
on
from?
the planet. We don't know where it came
from.
Right.
You can't get a tube of toothpaste in the place unless you're a member of the frickin' first family. You don't have to go through all that garbage. The other thing is, you know what? I mean, Hillary Clinton, you mentioned the email server. Yes, that should have been prosecuted. Need I bring up Jeffrey Epstein's frickin' diary or log or book of all his of his people that has never been released? I mean, how many do you want to go down the list? Do I mention Anthony Fauci? Do I mention the stuff he's done, the lying to Congress? Whatever. No one's above the law. Really? No, we have two. We unfortunately in this country, now that you pissed me off, we unfortunately in this country.
We could do a whole separate podcast on just crimes that Democrats have committed that have never been prosecuted.
We could do a whole freaking month of them. But you know what? For that guy to come out with the gall to come out with his freaking shit-laden pants and shuffle out there and say, you know what, no one's against the law, and give some freaking grin like he just took another dump in his pants and shuffle off stage, I find freaking morally and ethically reprehensible, and it really kind of pisses me off. There, I've said it.
Well, here I got something else that'll piss you off.
Why did you say that?
Oh, thanks.
Here we go with this. This is going out to Cincy 513 and his people.
Imagine you're not a fan of Trump. Is
his
that fair
people.
to say? No, not quite, no. Are you comfortable or happy seeing a former president, political opponent, have to stand trial for 8 weeks, not being able to campaign? How does that make you feel?
Good, yeah. If you commit a crime, you got to face the consequences.
You don't think there's any sort of politics behind the indictment of Trump or rushing this to trial?
Oh, not at all, no.
What if Republicans start indicting Democrats soon? I'd love to see Joe Biden go to jail for treason because he is a traitor to this country. Do you think that Democrats don't commit crimes, only Republicans commit crimes?
Statistically speaking, yeah.
Why do you think
that a crime?
A crime is a crime. That's your position.
Yep.
You probably commit internet privacy felonies almost every day.
Really?
Downloading illegal music, going to websites you shouldn't go to. You ever jaywalk? You ever run a red light?
Nope.
You ever not obey the speed limit?
Oh, okay. I'll go 5 over the
Hold on a
speed
second.
limit
Not obeying the
sometimes.
speed limit's a misdemeanor.
Ah, shit. Throw me in prison.
Exactly. You show me the man, I'll show you the crime, is what the Soviets used to say. You know deep down that this sets a precedent where all of a sudden you're going to use political power to go after your opposition. And here's what's really the case. You're right. Donald Trump's poll numbers are not what they used to be because the Democrats have put him in a criminal trial on metaphorical house arrest where he can't campaign.
Good.
That fucking idiot. But that's the mindset. That is the mindset.
That's the mindset of a few, but and you're going to have that. But I think that. Well, it's a lot. You're talking to some college kid who just had his face clear up of all the zits that he's had his whole freaking life, and he's excited to get. He thinks somehow that he's something, but what he doesn't realize. And to be fair, I wasn't liberal. I've never been liberal. God, thank God for that. But I mean, at some point in his life, he thinks he actually knows something because he went to school and maybe found his first girlfriend. Who the hell knows? But listen, you don't realize at that age how much you don't know in life. And we've all been there, right? And with age comes wisdom. And unfortunately, some people at that age think they know everything. And he's probably going to go into social work or God knows what else. I mean, I find it. I discount that. I think that everyday people, like we just said, I mean, they just sit here and watch and getting by in their lives. The great vast of middle America looks at this and they know what it is and they know it's a railroad job.
But Andrew, the reason I play that though, is you have, as you said, younger, just cleared of zit-faced college kids that are going to go to the fucking polling booth because they're picking up on shit. And guess what? Numbers count.
Numbers do count. There's no question about that.
These motherfuckers.
That's a good point.
These motherfuckers will get in their little encampments and do whatever it is they're doing and all talk and not really look at the big fucking picture that our judicial system fucked our country over yesterday. Completely fucked us over. 2, the country is in disarray because of this, but it was already in disarray before it. But they're biting into this fucking log of, the Democrat, Joe Biden, all this. And I'm not saying vote however you want, but be fucking educated. That fucking kid was not educated. And how many more of those uneducated voters are going to the fucking booth?
Well, let's be fair. Charlie Kirk makes his deal out of finding the dumber of the dumb and then making a video. I get it.
I mean, so I'm not dumb. I can read through that, but guess what? I work with a lot of young people that will go and vote that aren't educated. Well, now, I don't indoctrinate them with my beliefs. I just say, go get educated. Read up on this.
Let me throw you a bone here, okay? Let me throw you a ray of sunshine, because you call me today, you call me Mr. Sunshine. Not usually my name. So my niece, who's my niece texted me yesterday, and my niece is probably, God, I'm a horrible uncle, but I would say my niece is in her early 20s. Okay.
All right. She's actually 7. You blow me shit, I blow you shit.
Should we do you a favor and just cut you off right now before you go down the road?
No, creep. So she texted me yesterday and she says, where do we go from here? Now she's not, let me be upfront. My niece is not politically active. My niece is not someone that watches, Fox News every night. My niece is, trying to make a living. She's a healthcare worker. She's in home healthcare down in Texas, and she's doing her thing. And she's I would put her in the same age bracket as the zitless person you just showed. But at the end of the day, I think that for every person that you find like that, you're going to find another young person
that realizes where we're at, and maybe not to the numbers that would make us happy. Maybe it's not 50-50, but I think the loss of the support of the African American community, I think the loss of the support of the Latino community, I think that I wish I knew the guy's name, but a big Democrat donor to Joe Biden just gave Donald Trump today $350,000. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen in by itself. This is almost like, this is a bridge too far. People don't want to go over this bridge. So I'm just telling you, yes, I think enough Americans are going to wake up. I'm not complacent, nor is it the time for complacency. But what I will say is this: I will say I'm cautiously optimistic that the Democrat Party, Joe Biden in particular, his Justice Department, has overplayed their hand. They've reached too far, and this is going to boomerang back on them. And thankfully, in November, his ass will be sent packing to someplace that can give him the care for his incontinence that he clearly needs.
Yeah. Do you see a shelf life on this? On how long they can go trying to get mileage out of this court decision?
Well, do you have any reports? I haven't seen any, but the fact that you haven't seen any, I do know that I saw that Joe Biden put a thing out trying to use this as a campaign donation issue. Mm-hmm. So they said, now that Joe, blah, 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 blah. But what you notice is you got to pay attention to the press, because let's be honest, the press is clearly liberally biased. We're not even going to get in that discussion, right? I mean, the general press overall, you might have one or two here and one or two there that provide some modicum of balance, but overall, the press is liberally biased. Don't you know that if the Democrats were making all sorts of donation records, that would be front and center page news? And the fact that it's not shows you that this isn't working for them. Okay, the news story today is how much money the Republicans are raising over this.
Right. So hopefully, politically speaking, Joe Biden and his crew may have jumped the shark on this one.
I think they shit the bed.
Yeah, I think they absolutely did. Is it going to come back and bite him in the ass?
To be fair, I think he shits his bed every night, but that's just my opinion.
That's a different thing. That's physiological.
You're gonna wait for that book to come out. I was a maid in the White House during the Biden administration. Let me tell you,
Andrew. Thank you for being on, my man. We appreciate you,
guys. I don't know. Has anyone ever multitasked like this before as a guest? I mean, I've run all over Cincinnati, and I'm back at home, sitting in my car, podcasting with you two.
Well, fuck! I thought you were going to Mar-a-Lago. God damn it! Yeah. I was wrong. Sorry, I got wrong information from your.
Hey, listen, I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest with you. I was in Florida about 2 weeks ago, and I think it was hotter than the surface of the sun. My desire of going down to Florida this time of year is approximately zero.
Yeah, you go north.
Since he 513 thinks you're in the parking lot of the Brass Ass, he says he recognized that parking lot anywhere. So, you care to show us your surroundings at all?
Do you want to see my surroundings? Here, wait. I'll tell Sis. Hold on. Wait, no.
There we go. Now we're gonna find out if he's at the Brass Ass or not.
Tomato trees.
Here's this palatial pool. Here's my pool. It's been made famous.
I got one of those in my backyard. I grow tomato plants in.
Hey man, that's where I do my laps. That's where I do about 2,000 laps.
We call it a lap.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Or a bathe.
I'll tell you what, man. You
tried turning in that. I could barely fit in there, but it's nice.
Andrew, we appreciate you coming on, man.
You're the best.
Love you guys. I'll see you. Thanks.
Right.
See you.
See you, Mike.
Oh my God.
Fucking
Pappas. I mean, when you want a way to kill an hour, just dial up a little.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I feel it's apropos. There's a lot of people that don't like him, but he has a lot of good fucking points.
Yeah.
And he is fair for the most part.
Yeah, I mean,
you notice I said for the most part.
The guy's he's been around the block. He's been in government. He's a business. He was a business owner. He's enjoying the fruits of his labor. That's why he said, in every day which I do, what does he do most of every day? He does nothing because he can afford to do nothing. So God bless him, but never shy about his opinions. And
he don't give a shit.
And he generally speaking, I find his opinions quite interesting because I have a lot of respect for the way he views the world around us. I have a lot of respect for the way he views America.
He will
what America stands for.
He will bring something where, I mean, we all tend to, us, me, you, him, tend to lean the same way, but there's times where he's like, hold on, look at this piece, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even see that.
No, I mean, I had him on my radio show last night, and there was a couple of points I made.
Let's not tout him that much.
Well, I'm just saying he pushed back on a couple of points that I made, and that's, you know, the kind of discussion we had there is the kind of discussion that all Americans should be. You don't have to agree on every single subject, but it doesn't mean at the end you can't part friends.
Right. We can talk about it. Yeah. That's the thing. Talk about it. So to the point where you were like, you know, we don't have smoke billowing out of cities, you know, buildings getting fucking smashed up. And I'm going to pull something from the Drinking Bros that I listened their episode yesterday. And this is either going to piss people off or whatever, but I do like the way Dan Holloway said it. He goes, Republicans don't fucking act that way. They have jobs. They have shit to do. Yeah. But guess what? And I'm not pulling myself or Dan into the Republican Democrat. You don't have a job. We have a job. But it is true. The lower demographic is the ones that usually start all this bullshit. And we're going to wait and see how it shakes out before we actually have to fucking, you know, start having the peaceful protest or whatever. Everybody's pissed off about it. I mean, there's no doubt. Not everybody. I mean, but the people that lean the way that we do are pissed off and, you know, outraged. But we also understand there's a process. We also understand that the process that was started was bullshit. So hopefully a higher court, if it gets there, when it gets there, which I think it will, we'll see how it, you know, comes back over before we have to fucking like actually, you know, have signs and shit.
Yeah.
But we're not going down and fucking breaking down fucking windows and shit. That's stupid.
But you know
what difference does it make?
What goes on in a courtroom shouldn't break down along conservative or liberal lines. We should
have nothing to do with that.
What your political outlook is.
Nothing to do with
we
that.
should all agree that what happens in a courtroom should be fair to both sides.
Let me read this to you.
And what happened in this courtroom in this case was anything but.
It was
fair to both sides.
Well, that's why I named it, you know, and the trial's been called a sham by not even Trump, but many others and us as well. In my household, has been called a sham. But so our buddy Lumber Chef, who's not in very often, but he had a Friday off and he jumped into chats.
Beautiful.
He said, here's my question for November. How confident are we as a country with the integrity of our votes on the 5th, even if 3/4 votes one way, I do question it. And that's the thing. Like, how legit is, we've talked about it a million times ad nauseum, 2,000 mules. You have to hope that we have a legit election, for one, first and foremost. Two, what happens with this and how it all shakes out, you know, with his process.
Well, and I think
but that's a fair question.
Yeah, he's making an excellent point there. And that's an illustration of the danger that happens when you start fiddling around with these things. When you start fiddling around with an election and you say, yeah, we're going to count these mail-in ballots that came in after the deadline, or we're going to count these ballots that don't have the proper signatures, or we're going to, you know, allow illegals to vote. That's the kind of thing that lingers. And that's the kind of thing, you know, we're going to see video of poll workers taking ballots, putting them through the scanner, and then taking that same group of ballots and putting them back through the scanner. Not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times.
Right.
So when you have those kind of things, that don't get addressed in a meaningful way, this is the kind of result that you can expect. People ask questions about how legitimate is our system, and you fuck it up one time, and then you lose that level of trust.
Yeah, you're done.
That you really need.
Your integrity is fucked.
We need to have trust in the institutions that make this country great, and fiddling around with those and fucking those up for everyone else just for a political end is one of the most damaging things that you can do to this country. And we've seen it now, like I said, making a mockery of the election system, making a mockery of the justice system, and now making a mockery of the courts.
Yep.
And those, to my way of thinking, are three really big things. Let's do a little ad read here, and then
I'm going to do this one first.
Get into a couple of fun things.
I'm going to do this one first.
All right.
I'm going to beat you to it, only because our friend Rich at Engraved in USA, they are actually watching it as we're going live. They're at an event in Cheviot.
Yes.
So I put his
shout out.
I put his comment up there, but Engraved in USA, huge friends of ours, in business for over 25 years, engraving your business awards, promotional, employee and customer, brewery, drinkware, golf outing accessories, promotional and recognition items. If you're a smaller global company, we have the team that can design and produce quality items to enhance your business. Call the team of Tanya, Tammy, Tim, or Rich, 513-682-2557. 513-682-2557. Oh, I always forget this one. Gotta grab my beer. Say 100%.
Here we go.
To get the best personal touch from our friends at Engraved in USA. We appreciate them logging in live while they're actually working, and they get the glory and privilege of, or misery of, watching us go live.
And while we're at it, we also want to thank our friend Dan Varner and his great group, the Varner Netherton Revival. You know, the boys are together again. They are making the best music of their lives. Cincinnati's own Dan Varner has rejoined with longtime friends Nick, Brad, and Rye, and the Varner Netherton Revival is filling up clubs and arenas from the Queen City to Nashville and all places in between. More than award-winning musicians, they are recording artists, and overall, when you go see one of their shows, it is just plain fun. Their vocal harmonies has crowds of 10 to 10,000 standing up and singing along. And the best part is you can book them for your, and I mean this sincerely. You got an event in your backyard pool. You got and we've been to those events.
Yep.
Where they set up in someone's backyard and put on one of the best shows you'll ever see. And check it out for yourself. You can find out more by going to varnernetherton.com, varnernetherton.com. Check out a show near you. They've got their schedule on there of all the places that they'll be appearing in the next few weeks. And check it out for yourself and book them for your event.
Think you should. It's fun.
All right. Couple of fun things here. You know, talking about the justice system. So we had the trial of Trump, and people have asked, you know, what was the crime? So you've got this thing with the documents, 34 counts, trying to cover up. And look, we could relitigate this all day long. But then there are other times when you have crimes that are caught on camera. And I mean, the entire thing is look, when it comes to police dash cam video or body cam video, there are times when that video is not, and that is, I would say, and you, if you disagree with me, Jason, that's fine. But I would say most times the dash cam video or the body cam video, a lot of times can lead to more answers than questions. But there's other times when the video really gives a pretty clear indication of what happened. As with this video that we're going to see here, you have a woman who winds up being naked somehow.
I was trying to figure out which one you're
and then she does what, you know, you watch the video for yourself and you decide. And then we'll tell the story after you see the video.
Right.
How about that? You know what I'm talking about.
couldn't tell. I was curious when you said this to me. I couldn't tell if, and it looked like he was having a little bit more of an issue than I thought it would have been. I couldn't tell if his leg got caught underneath the wheel. I was hoping that it did not. But then, like, when I watched it just then, like where he tried to get up, like any normal, adrenaline, you're going to try to stand up. Looked like he was a little bit off kilter.
So you have that woman there. Her name is 35-year-old Whitley Temple. Found not guilty of attempted murder. The judge in the case, Judge Tyra Walton, said this woman was not guilty by reason of insanity. So you have her on video having an altercation with this police officer, jumps into the car. This was in Chicago. Jumps into the car and then drives away. And it looked like the door was open. That caught the police officer, took him to the ground. And then she speeds off in the car. All of it clearly on video. And a judge looks at that and says, not guilty. How the hell does that happen?
Well, I mean, obviously somebody with reason of insanity. I mean, that's a big thing. And I'm not going to get into a big debate because we're kind of making some light of what the first hour of this was, but
again, that's our justice system.
But it's during the incident leading to her arrest, Ed Popish, the Chicago police officer, was responding to a call about shots fired. Obviously, a big deal. He's going to be on high alert. And when he saw Temple lying half naked in the street,
you never see that, do you?
Oh, I've never seen it ever, ever. But he called for an ambulance, and then when she suddenly stood up from the pavement and started saying his name repeatedly, which that confused me, but I'm assuming that's his beat. So like she probably knew who he was.
All right.
Then walked around the officer and got into his driver's seat. I mean, I understand there's the crime. I don't know what her mental status was, but I mean, if a judge, that's fucked up, don't get me wrong. But if she's got severe mental issues, then yeah, I mean, they're going to pull the mental insanity plea to that. But when I saw it, I was like, fuck, please tell me his leg did not get run over. When I first watched the video, I'm like, damn, what are you sending me, you son of a bitch? But I mean, the way you labeled it, I loved it though. Chicago, my kind of town. It's exactly where I want to go vacation.
So she drove the car to a gas station, then hit the Eisenhower Expressway, reaching speeds of 97 miles an hour as she was weaving through traffic.
She never driven a police car, Dan. She wanted to.
Endangering others, I might add. She continued speeding and running red lights before striking 5 occupied cars. Okay. So she was eventually arrested. And so this somehow gets excused by this judge saying, oh, she was having an issue. Just having a little meltdown that day. And so not really a danger to anyone else. Put her back out on the street. I mean, this is judges clearly not doing their job. So, I mean, to my way of thinking, the video really pretty much shows it all in this instant. It doesn't happen all the time.
Well, this is the bullshit. This is the bullshit that first responders, police officers, more so police officers than firemen have to deal with. But I've had people jump out of the back of a fucking ambulance. I'm like, okay, go. See you. Bye.
All right.
You probably shouldn't go while it's moving, though. Here, let's stop it. If you want to get out that bad, we'll stop it because I don't want to really have to treat you at this point.
So we had Memorial Day last weekend, the unofficial start of summer.
Oh, I got it.
Great time to have family and friends around. Get out the grill, a little time to get the grill going, put on some burgers, some dogs, some brats. I like Mets and brats. I like, put some ribs on the grill.
You like all the cylindrical meats.
Absolutely. And here's a guy trying to enjoy a little Memorial Day, getting the grill ready for the family. Look at that. The sun covered and the pool's ready to go. And wait a minute. What? Watch out. That grill's heavy. and especially being waterlogged like that, it's going to be
even. Yeah, you're fucked.
Oh my God.
I would tell the kids swim around the grill.
That just
swim around it.
Yeah, no diving in this area.
I have another video.
Oh my God, that sucks.
You know how we would go like here and there with idiot of the week or whatever.
Oh yeah,
dumbass of the week.
This is one I haven't seen yet. I think
this has been up, but I found it, so I'm like, we're playing it.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office. Actually, so just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
turn yourself in by 6 today. We'll call you an Uber.
So for the audio listeners, this dude's fucking driving down the road with his cell phone up and doing a Zoom call with his judge. License suspension, but the look on his face, and go to our YouTube or search it, it's out there. But when he literally sits there, is like, what the fuck did I just do? And puts his head back to the headrest. Oh fuck!
Didn't think that one all the way through.
Dumbass of the week.
Oh my God! I think a lot of people have that look on their face after watching an episode of One More and I'm Out of Here.
Yeah, well, I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
I'm dumber for having spent an hour.
We have. I've got one more dumbass.
All right.
Well,
you're on a roll today.
Well, my opinion, dumbass.
Okay.
So full disclosure. I mean, somebody else may not think so, but Ohio billionaire plans to take a deep sea submersible to the Titanic depths.
Oh, wow.
And we are approaching the 1 year. We're approaching the 1 year.
God.
This is probably going to be an ad.
What's BBB? The Better Business Bureau. BBB connects people with businesses they can trust.
To do groundbreaking experiments in a zero-gravity environment.
I'm closing in on 900 hours of training over the last 6 months.
It's training for the trip of a lifetime,
this guy's going
and not just for sightseeing.
This other guy.
Space tourists will do 10 or 12 hours of training, and they'll be in space for 10 minutes. Our mission is...
Let me read down through, because I can't remember if that's the same guy for that.
So one is the same guy. He's going to space and...
Or if that's a stupid
down
ad
to the Titanic?
Ohio billionaire to take a submersible to the Titanic site to prove deep sea travel can be, quote unquote, wonderful and enjoyable when done in quote the right way. Now, the in quotes in the right way, I'll agree with, because I watched a documentary on that Ocean Gate bullshit where the guy was like buying clips off of Amazon and just willy nilly putting shit together. I'll send you the link to the show. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
But see, the articles I read is that the two pilots that died in that were like two of the most experienced guys out there.
Yeah, they piloted the
doing
thing.
this kind of stuff.
So they probably know how to work it, but the way it was built, they didn't build it.
Well, yeah, but if they were look, the pilots that I know,
Guess what? Bottom line, they fucking died.
I know they're dead.
They imploded.
But the pilots that I know that fly helicopters,
where we're going under the water.
But it's the same sort of thing. You're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your passengers. I mean, that responsibility is the same. whether you're
And in
1,500 feet in the air or 1,500 feet
in this
under the ocean.
documentary, they said, I'm not sure that this should happen. But they did it
But
anyway.
see, they wouldn't stand for cutting corners.
They
like
did it anyway, Dan.
And they're dead now.
Yes. So, interview with the Wall Street
sake.
Journal, Connor said he and Triton Submarines co-founder Patrick Leahy will travel to the depths of the Titanic shipwreck site in a two-person submersible. I want to show people worldwide that while the ocean is extremely powerful, it can be wonderful and enjoyable and really kind of life-changing if you go about the right way. Well, it could potentially be.
And that is all true. I have no doubt that is true, but it is also extremely unforgiving.
So he said
of any lapse of forethought or foresight or doing things the right way.
In the interview, Connor said days after the tragic implosion, he called Leahy and urged him to build a better submersible. This isn't the first daring mission Connor has embarked on. 2022, Connor spoke with WLWT, which is local to us, about his Axiom 1 mission on a SpaceX rocket. So, yeah, he traveled on the SpaceX. So, Connor, a man who's driven fast in Formula One cars and flown high in aerial trick planes and fighter jets in the past, told WLWT that at the time, fear wasn't on his mind. Connor had taken 3 dives into the deepest part of the Earth, Mariana Trench, south of Japan. So I've read a little bit more on this after I found this article, or Jill sent it to me first, and I started researching. He reached out to whoever made the Ocean Gate sub and was like, all right, so we're going to fix this. So I can't remember what year because it didn't say in the article.
All right. And
when he's going, I don't know if it was next year or the year after, but we've got another. We're gonna have to go live. We're gonna have to go live when that happens.
This guy's a billionaire. He can do what he wants with his money. That's perfectly fine. But Jason,
what can he do with his life?
I'm going to go on record now that when you and I become billionaires through the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, I am not going to go deep diving down to the depths of the ocean with you.
I made it.
You want to go? You're going by yourself.
I was talking to my assistant chief today because it came up on the news again today, this morning when I was getting off work. And I was like, you know what? I love scuba diving. I'm good with 100, 150 feet underwater. I don't need to be any deeper. I'll watch James Cameron's fucking movies and his videos that he's done. Man. He's obviously doing it the right way because he's been down there like 15 times. But you have these other knuckleheads that are building different things. Why don't you just jump in what James Cameron had and go down there?
Well, I believe that was a remote control submersible is what he had.
No, I think he's been down.
Okay, fine.
But still,
but the for my money, the remote control ones with the really good cameras on it, they do a fine job.
You know what? For my money, Netflix works perfect.
I'm good sitting in a comfortable chair watching the video.
Comfort of my own couch. Yeah. My fucking sweatpants on. Miller Lite right by me. I'm good.
I don't want to be 5,000 leagues under the ocean and say, "Hey, what was that noise?"
Did you hear this? Did you hear that sound? That's weird.
Don't touch that.
I'm not fucking doing that.
Keith, don't touch that. Come on, man.
That's fucking
stop fucking
stupid.
around.
That's dumb.
John Fetterman's on Fox News. How about that?
Oh, weird. Yeah, he takes up the whole fucking screen too.
You know, that guy is so interesting because he had the stroke.
Well, he's a windshield washer. Windshield wiper.
Went to the hospital, and it's like he cannot access that part of his brain now that was the liberal part where he was spewing all the liberal
he went here. That was here.
Talking points. And he's like totally forgotten that part of his life.
I literally saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok video of somebody was trolling him, and I get it. But if you're in that realm, it's gonna happen. But she's got, a camera, and she's walking with him, right here down the hallway. And she was like, "Hey, you ran on this, and this." And I can't give you the specifics. I can find it if you want to. Email me and I'll find it. But called him out on all the shit that he is now completely opposite on. And he gets in an elevator and just stands there and He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
But he just stands there and he's like, doors closed, and she goes, "Yep, figured that was going to be the answer." Dude, it was fucking hilarious. Because he's like a windshield wiper.
Yeah, it's great.
Dano,
It's been a fun day.
What are your plans for the weekend? It's been a long episode, but I like it. It was worth it.
I gotta play some golf. I was supposed to go to the range today and get my driver figured out, but then we'll find out tomorrow morning what's happening with that thing, and play a little golf, and got some work to do around the house. And
what are you doing tonight?
That's got to figure out what I'm going to do for dinner first of all, because Paul is working, so she'll be off work late tonight, and it's going to be a late dinner for us.
All right, we gotta go hang out at the pool.
Oh, we could? Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's do that.
I like it.
Hey, Dano.
One more and I'm out of here.
One more and I'm out of here. I'll see you at the pool.
There you go.